What's up, brand builder? I'm Mash Bonigala, and welcome to another episode of the Brand Builder Show, where I post 3 videos every week on how to create, launch, build, and market your brand. In this video, we talk about how to create a killer brand manual or brand style guide. One of the most important brand assets for any company is their brand manual or brand style guide document. Being consistent in brand messaging is crucial to the growth and success of a brand. And a brand manual or a brand guide does the job of ensuring this consistency. When the brand identity of a brand is being created, the natural tendency is simply focus on the logo design or the primary brand mark. And as soon as it is created, to simply start using it and moving on to other activities such as marketing materials or even the website development. But the right way to create a brand identity is actually focus on creating a brand identity system. Now, I've done a video on that just recently. This brand identity system takes your brand from having just a shirt to a three-piece suit, which enables the brand to look the best and to be perceived appropriately. Once the brand identity system is created, it is essential that a set of rules and guidelines are established on how the various elements of the brand identity system are implemented and executed in your branding campaigns. A document that dictates these rules and guidelines on the elements of your brand identity system and how they should be used is called a brand manual or a brand style guide document. This video is one of the lessons from my Ultimate Brand Builder course. By completing the course, you will have built a robust and stunning brand that will be poised to attract your target audience and dominate your market space. Now, what are the essential components of a brand style guide or a brand manual? Now, a brand manual should consist of the following components. We will explore each of the components throughout this video. For this video, we've taken a brand manual that we created for one of our clients, and you can see large format photos of the style guide to illustrate the various sections that I talk about. You can also read the full case study of the client on our website, and I will leave a link below in this video. The first part of a brand manual is the cover page, which has the table of contents. Then you have the introduction. Then you have sections about the primary logo design, logo introduction, logo application, logo elements, clear space, computations, incorrect logo usage, and so on. Then you have a section about the corporate color system, which includes corporate colors, the primary color, the secondary color system. Then you have a section about the corporate typography, the fonts, the primary font, the secondary font hierarchy. Then you have a section of corporate iconography. Then you could have grid system, print grid system, logo placements, columns and grid margins, vertical grid system for tablets, and so on. Then you have image and blending modes. So this includes the corporate image style, the corporate image colors, black and white systems, the blending modes and options, image grid systems, presentation, and other print assets. So the first section of any brand manual is the cover page and the table of contents. For every brand manual or style guide, it is very essential to set up the context and the narrative. And this can be done on the cover page, the table of contents, and the introduction section. Start off with a large and beautiful layout of the primary logo design on the inner page. It would help if you can place the logo on a background of the primary color and use a version of the logo that would pop out on that particular color. Include a complete table of contents on the opening page with numbers. Now, if possible, break it down into sections and then number them accordingly. Introduction and context. If you have a brand story, then this would be the place to talk about that. Typically, when the brand story is fresh and inspiration is high, all the stakeholders and team members of a company would uh, feel a connection with the brand story. They understand what the brand story is about. But as time goes by, the impact of the brand story tends to sort of dim down. Your brand manual would be a good place to reconnect with your brand story and the context of your brand. At the very least, include text that explains the importance of the brand manual or brand style guide and how it can be used or it should be used. The next section is primary logo design specifications. In this section, you lay out the fundamentals of your primary logo design. A separate section needs to be created if you have a secondary brand mark. The purpose of this section of your branding style guide is to not only list the technical specifications of your logo, but also guidelines on how and how not to use your logo design. Technical specifications of your logo may include measurements of the main components of the logo, such as the icon and the typography, the distance and the ratio between the two, spacing and padding around the logo, and so on. Recommendations can also include what file formats are preferable or permitted, and the versions that make the cut or not. The next section is the color palette and tints. Illustrating the color palette is very critical to maintaining brand consistency, and this section is a crucial part of any brand manual or style guide. Now, color is one of the most important aspects of any successful brand or startup. If you look at any of the super brands out there, you notice that they tend to own a color. Now, picking the right color and then applying that color consistently to all your branding is the key to owning a color. And that color creating the right kind of brand recall. Now, I've done a video about how to own a color for your brand, and maybe you want to check that out down the line. Color theory gives us a clear understanding of the harmonious relationships between colors. Now, colors are not just visual treats. They can also communicate messages, by various feelings that they inspire in people. I've also done another video on the impact of color theory on branding, and that would be an interesting watch for you if you're interested on how this works. The next section is typography and type hierarchy. When it comes to logo design, the value of typography can never be taken for granted. If the point of a logo is to communicate a message, there is no better way to do that than with the use of the right kind of typography and fonts. Since logos are all about aesthetics, it helps to choose the best lettering style for the design process. Now, I've also done another video on the value of typography in the logo design process, which may be an interesting watch. As such, the typography section of the brand manual or brand style guide is a section that most vendors, web designers, and others who come in contact with your brand will be referring to frequently. You have to list out your primary fonts, your secondary and complementary fonts in different weights and styles. A type hierarchy is also very important and shows how the font or the type and text looks at various sizes. And these could be in the form of headings and different weights. The next section is corporate iconography. Iconography is defined as a branch of art history which studies the identification, description, and the interpretation of the content of images, the subjects depicted, the particular compositions and details used to do so, and other elements that are distinct from artistic style. Now, when you apply this theory to a brand identity, we start to realize that creating icons that are consistent with the main brand identity and that add value to the visual system and help carry the additional message to the target audience is very crucial. It is recommended to create a set of icons that can be used on the brand website or on print materials and so on that enhance the value of the brand. Now, please resist the temptation to simply buy off-the-shelf kind of clip art icons to represent your brand. The next section is grid systems. In graphic design, a grid is defined as a structure, usually two-dimensional, made up of a series of intersecting straight, vertical, horizontal, or even angular lines, and they're used to structure content. They're used to structure information, lay out content. In branding, grid systems are very important to lay out a consistent architecture of how the various brand assets and components would and should look and feel. Now, while being invisible, grid systems play a critical role in what could be considered pleasing or not in the brand visual language. Grid systems are also very important in print materials such as letterheads, business cards, posters, and also on the web and the photos being used and so on. The next section is images and blending modes. The visual language of a brand does not stop at the logo design or even print design. It goes beyond the obvious touch points and into assets such as photos and images that the brand uses on its website, print, or social media channels. It is important to figure out and establish a set of guidelines in terms of how your brand photos or images published by your brand must look and feel. Now, this includes not only the type of photos used, but also the style, the look and feel of the photos. Blending modes are quite important too, to create a unique style that can come to be identified with your brand. For example, if you multiply any base color by the blend color, the resulting color is always a darker color. Or multiplying any color by black produces black. Or multiplying any color by white leaves the color unchanged. So the mood of your photos and images is also important to consider before usage and must align with the brand core values and brand story. The next section is presentation and other print assets. Presentation and other print assets must also follow well-established rules and guidelines. Now, remember that nothing should be left to chance or interpretation by your target audience. Now, presentations can include PowerPoint or Apple Keynote. They could also include ad hoc slides and banners and things like that. Now, the style and design layout has to be figured out and a section created in the brand manual or style guide. This could include mention about backgrounds, colors, grids, and more. Additional print assets such as comm slips, business cards, invoices, etc. should also be included in the manual along with correct dimensions, bleed marks, and other information. Now, this kind of information will come in really handy when your print company is trying to produce something and they're trying to figure out the best kind of dimensions and bleeds and so on and so forth. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions about this topic, please hit me up on Twitter. My handle is @Bonigala. Or leave a comment below this video and I will surely respond. And if you haven't already done so, please don't forget to subscribe to the Brand Builder Show channel so that you will be alerted when my next episode comes out. Till my next video, take care.